This is my book review for Most Dope, The Extraordinary Life of Mac Miller by Paul Cantor. If you don't know, Mac Miller is a world-famous rapper who passed away in 2018 from a drug overdose on fentanyl. This is a biography that came out last year that's based on interviews with his friends and collaborators, producers, and it goes through his whole life from childhood all the way up until 2018 when he passed away. I give this a 4.8 out of 5. It's one of the best and most interesting books that I've read, biographies and life stories that I've read. If you love Mac Miller, if you love hip hop, if you love music, and if you want to see an inspiring and interesting story of somebody who made it in the music industry and somebody who made it in America, and who succeeded with their dream of being a professional rapper and making music for a living and performing for thousands of people, you should read this book. You will enjoy this. It starts out with his early life growing up in Pittsburgh. He originally, he loved Outkast. He loved Big L. He called himself Easy Mac at first and then later changed his name to Mac Miller. And he had a friend where he would go to the attic with his friends and they would do drugs in high school and at an early age, and they would freestyle. And Mac could freestyle. And that was really what Mac's talent was. And I didn't know that until I read the book. I just knew him for his music. He could freestyle. And after I read this, I looked up his freestyles on YouTube. And yeah, the guy, he could really rap. And that was his talent. That was his skill. And he used that skill to start making music, start making albums, start making mixtapes. And his parents didn't believe in him at first. They didn't think music could make him money. They came from a middle-class, traditional background, and he had to prove them wrong. And it talks about how he used YouTube and how he used MySpace to his advantage. He got millions of views on his mixtape songs, and he was eventually able to sign a record deal with a management deal with Rostrum Records, which had already signed Wiz Khalifa. But even after he succeeded on YouTube, he went through a lot of challenges with people criticizing his work. He had a meeting with the chairman of Sony right before his mixtape Kids dropped. And he had a chance to get a record deal with Sony, and they turned him down right before he blew up. And he went through rejections like that, and had performances where not a lot of people showed up and there was low attendance. And he had a lot of moments where he faced rejections and people were hating on his music. People didn't like his persona or the way he presented himself as a white rapper. Rolling Stone and Pitchfork gave him a 1-star review for Blue Slide Park. And even though it was #1 on iTunes, Mac was depressed. So even though he was famous, even though he had millions of dollars and millions of fans and millions of views, he was depressed. He felt insecure. He felt like hurt by the bad reviews. He felt hurt by what people were saying about him. So it's as someone who, if you're looking for fame or success in the music industry and you think that you're going to be happy once you get it, this book shows you that not necessarily. Not everyone's going to love you. There's going to be people who don't appreciate your work, no matter how famous you get. And there's going to be people who hate on you, no matter how famous you get. And you might be less happy. Mac goes on to achieve huge levels of fame and success. He gets in a relationship with Ariana Grande. He gets offered a $10 million record deal at one point. He has lots of #1 albums that are #1 on the charts. But for Mac, the happiest moment is when Best Day Ever came out at the beginning, when it was all new and he was succeeding for the first time and he had fans for the first time. It was exciting. The book says, besides Best Day Ever, when everything was new and exciting, that to Mac was the peak. I don't think it's gotten much better than that, Mac said. It's like losing your virginity. The whole time you're like, this is getting crazy. Then after having sex a lot more, you're kind of just in there. Which is hilarious, but it kind of shows you that, you think that you're going to be happier by achieving fame and success, but really you have to achieve happiness before you succeed and figure out yourself before you succeed, to be able to maintain it once you have the pressures and the criticism and the struggles that fame brings. Because he was not comfortable with being famous. And the book has interesting moments like describing his drug habit and how he would be in the studio. Like when he was recording the album Faces, he would be on multiple drugs at the same time, on weed, on coke, on lean, on alcohol, on Molly, on everything, and still be able to go into the booth and record while high on all those drugs. And I listened to that album for the first time after reading this book. I was like, wow, he's kind of like a genius to be able to be on that many drugs and still be able to create some of his best music ever. And the point of this book is that this is a guy who did 6 albums, he did 9 mixtapes, and he did dozens of collabs, over 600 songs, passed away in his 20s, tried to get sober, unfortunately relapsed, and the addiction took his life. But Mac Miller's greatest addiction was the music. And this is a story of somebody who was passionate about music, passionate about what he did, and was able to follow his dream and to succeed with it. If you love music, and if you love Mac Miller, you love rap, and if you have a dream and you're trying to accomplish it, this is a great book to read. I love biographies like this because it shows you all those little moments behind songs that you've heard before, and you get to hear the little stories behind, oh, what was he thinking when he made that song or that album? It's a great book. It's a great book. For all you Mac Miller fans, go get this on Amazon. Go get this on Amazon and let me know what you think in the comments.